Boris Johnson launches the Conservative Manifesto, and Labour falls into chaos as all negative attention stays on their manifesto instead of the Tories. Now, when a political party publish their manifesto during election times, all attention goes on to them, and they scrutinise them, whether it's the media or other external stakeholders and the general public. This time, as you remember, in 2017, when Theresa May launched her manifesto, until that point, the Conservatives were leading massively in the polls, and then suddenly, it all went wrong. And this time, not only the Tories somehow survived the day, but actually, in reality, for some reason, for the first time, all negative attention stayed with Labour. Even though they launched their manifesto a couple of days before the Tories did, somehow no one forgot about that because it was so chaotic and so bad. And but we're going to look at the Tory manifesto in detail and compare them to the Labour one, and also see the reaction to see what's been happening out there. Now, we're starting the reactions from Ed Conway of Sky News, who said that, by my reckoning, for every pound the Conservatives are pledging to spend on the current budget, Labour will spend over £28 for every pound. That's 28 times more than the Conservatives pledged to spend. This is the difference between Labour and the Tories. And Jeremy Corbyn decided to unintentionally promote Boris Johnson's manifesto by actually tweeting it. He said, "This is the billionaires' manifesto. They bought it, you'll pay for it." This is the same manifesto that has on the cover has a picture of the Teesside workers who they said, "We love Boris," and these are the billionaires that Jeremy Corbyn talks about. Now, this manifesto also comes with a very detailed and geeky costings document with a lot of numbers and data. So if, like me, you enjoy reading this sort of stuff, then you could find this document on the Conservative Party's main website. Now, in terms of the differences, again, in terms of spending plans, as you can see, the Conservatives just about £3 billion, the Lib Dems 48.2 billion, and the Labour Party almost £83 billion. That's their plan. Yes, good luck paying for this, because it's not going to be them, it's not going to be the government, it's going to be you, all of us, every single one of us who's going to be paying for it, whether in taxation or in cuts or in borrowing, which means our kids will have to pay for it in debt. Now we're going to look at the Tories manifesto. Let's have a look at their snapshot, and we're going to compare them to the Labour one. Now, let's get into the details. Starting with Brexit. So the Conservatives plan to table the Brexit plan by Christmas. So if they win the election on the 12th of December, they're going to table it almost immediately. And which means the exit date will be end of January. 31st of January is the date when the UK will leave the EU. And they have also confirmed that we will be leaving the single market and the customs union, and will spend 2020 negotiating a trade deal with a promise to not extend it beyond December 2020, which means a trade deal, either a trade deal will be done by the end of 2020 or will be on WTO terms until we finalise the trade deal. The Labour Party plan to basically negotiate a new deal, which will keep us in the single market, the customs union and everything else, and then have a second referendum so that people could choose between their Remain deal or actually remaining in the EU. So basically the two are the same things. Next is the NHS. So Boris Johnson's government planned to hire 50,000 new nurses, create 50 million extra GP appointments, 40 new hospitals, 6,000 new GPs, 6,000 more physios, and also they want to have free hospital parking. The Labour Party, on the other hand, they want to increase NHS spending by 4.3% every year. They want to also give us free annual dental checkups. God knows how they're going to pay for that. And the rest of the spending, billions on mental health services, which is obviously important, And there's a lot of focus on mental health, but also child mental health. Next is taxation. The Conservatives have pledged to not increase income tax, national insurance, or VAT. In fact, they are cutting the national insurance by raising the threshold to 9,500, and they would keep corporation tax at 19% at the moment, but they would reduce business tax and business rates for small businesses. They will also increase small business employment allowance, and they will also have a stricter anti-tax avoidance and evasion measures for big corporations. The Labour Party, on the other hand, will increase all taxes. They want to increase income tax if you earn more than £80,000. They would introduce a windfall tax on oil companies. They would abolish and scrap marriage tax allowance, and they would introduce a 200% tax on second homes. They would also increase business tax from 19% to 26%. Now, when it comes to the economy and trade, the Conservatives plan to have 80% of the UK trade covered by free trade agreements within 3 years. They want to also introduce 10 new free ports and retake our WTO seat. On the other hand, the Labour Party plan to nationalise the Royal Mail, nationalise trains, nationalise the buses, nationalise water, nationalise energy companies, and nationalise the internet, and £400 billion transformation funds for schools and hospitals, and no plans for trade deals, no plans for anything related to actual helping businesses. Education. The Tories plan to have £30,000 starting salary for teachers. They want to have more free schools and expansion of alternative provision schools. They want to also have more special educational needs places and invest more in arts, music and sports. On the other hand, the Labour Party had a lot of focus on early years education, 150,000 more early years staff, and they also want to scrap Ofsted for some reason, which will bring down education standards. They want to have free meals for all kids at primary school, including rich kids and basically pupils that come from the billionaires' families. They also get free food for some reason. They want to abolish tuition fees and bring back maintenance grants. And when it comes to climate change, the Tories want to have a net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Labour want to do that by 2030. The Tories want to inject £6.3 billion for an energy efficiency measures, plant 75,000 acres of trees a year, and also focus a lot on tackling plastic waste. The Labour Party, on the other hand, again want to nationalise energy companies to force them to basically just focus on renewable energy, even though they might not actually be feasible at the time. Housing. The Tories pledge to have more homes to local families via discounts. They want to extend Help to Buy to 2023. They want to also ban sale of new leasehold homes, abolish no-fault evictions, and lifetime deposit for tenants. And they also want to have 300,000 new homes a year by mid-2020s. The Labour Party want to create a department for housing an English sovereign land trust to develop cheaper social housing. God knows how. They want to have extra 150,000 social houses, not normal houses, social houses, 100,000 council homes a year, and they want to also end right to buy. And finally, they want to introduce rent controls because, it's such a good idea. It's never worked in any other place in the world, but they want to do it. Now, most importantly, migration. The Conservatives plan to introduce an Australian-style point-based system, which will be based on merit. They also want to have an NHS visa for health workers and recruit tech and science leaders. They want to treat EU and non-EU citizens equally, on balance. On the other hand, Labour want to obviously maintain open borders with Europe, but they also want to extend free movement beyond that. So we don't know the effects exactly, especially when it comes to non-EU migration. But the most ridiculous part of the migration policies. They want to educate people on migration and colonialism. Yeah, I don't even know why, but yeah. Now, policing. The Conservatives want to have 10,000 more prison places. They want to have more police officers on the street. But most importantly, they want to toughen the sentences that people get. On the other hand, Labour want to recruit 2,000 more frontline police officers than the Tories for neighbourhoods. But they do want to essentially cancel stop and search. Now that last one is absolutely ridiculous when we know the effects if you get rid of that. We'll look at what's happening in the streets of London and across the country with the problems that we have, and Labour want to cancel stop and search. So yes, these are the manifestos we have. Obviously you can read them properly yourself on each party's website. At the moment, the reaction, somehow the Tories survived the day. Unlike 2017, they're still doing well in the polls. Let's just see how the rest of the week goes. So we'll keep you guys posted as usual on this channel. So make sure that you subscribe and click on the bell next to it. We made a video earlier today, a couple of hours earlier, if you haven't seen it, on John McDonnell and the Labour Party. There are a lot of rumours and talks going around about the possibility of replacing Jeremy Corbyn immediately after, if Labour lose the election. And John McDonnell is behind that move. So if you haven't seen the video, make sure that you go on the channel, and I'll actually put the link in the description as well. We have our merchandise site if you haven't seen it. We have the new Brexit t-shirts. All I want for Christmas is Brexit. We also have the Get Brexit Done, Make Britain Independent Again. Obviously there are various designs that you could also find. The link is in the description. If you want to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, again, you could find the link down here somewhere. I'll keep you guys posted on all election news, Brexit news, and everything else. As always, I'm Tousi, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.